Good afternoon, everyone, from Dunrovin Ranch in Lolo, Montana. I'm Suzanne Miller. I own Dunrovin Ranch. I have lived here for about 23 years. This is a place I love dearly, and I love sharing it with other people. And that is part of why I started this crazy virtual front porch, was to invite other people to share my world with me. And I'd like to give you a little tour of my world. I'm going to start in kind of the opposite direction of how this whole thing got started. It actually started with our osprey's nest, but I'm going to come to that last. Instead, I'm going to start with what I think is the major feature of Dunrovin Ranch, and that is the Bitterroot River. And James, if you wouldn't mind bringing up the river, I'd greatly appreciate that. Okay. The Bitterroot River is a very clean, free flowing river in western Montana. And it's just what I call a friendly river. I call it that because it is so clean and it doesn't have a lot of rapids. You can easily float it, you can swim in it. It's just a wonderful place. And you know, a river is a wildlife corridor. It just draws everything to it. In fact, on our river camera pedestal, we have the saying, where there's water, there's life. And that's really true in western Montana, where we have a very dry environment, and these rivers are really what bring everything together. So let's go. We're looking right now at the far south side of the river. And if you stay with us for any time, you're going to see that we go to this place on the river very often, in part because it is just so beautiful. We get wonderful sunrises and sunsets here. And it's also something of an island. You're looking at an island right here. So we have some water coming in on the, uh, what is your right, that is part of the channel. Uh, a lot of animals come to this particular sandbar. You're looking at the river today through a lot of smoke. Many of you may have read that we have a lot of forest fires in the western part of the United States right now. And while much of this smoke is coming from Idaho and Washington, we do have some fires that are rather close in the Bitterroot Valley right now. You're looking south and you're also looking east. So this is not where the smoke is coming from. Most of our smoke is coming from the west. But it really does kind of get in our valley and clouds us at time. So you have this kind of a dull light right now, which is unusual for western Montana, but it's been hanging around for a few days. So let's just take a little look at the mountains across the river. Let's start there. These are called the Sapphire Mountains. And they are called that because they contain a lot of sapphires. In fact, Montana has some very famous sapphires. They're called Yogo sapphires. And these mountains have been mined for many years because of their sapphire gems. But for us, this range of mountains is just, again, another wonderful wildlife habitat. We have a huge herd of elk that live over there, and on occasion you'll see them spill over the top of the mountain. And this camera is powerful enough to get right in on top of these mountains. We can just see right on top of the mountain. We have seen individual animals over here, elk and deer, and a very unusual group of animals lives over there, and those are wild horses. We have a herd of wild horses over there. They're called the ghost herd because you don't see them very often. When I first moved here, I was fascinated by this, so I did a little research project with some of my neighboring ranchers, and we figured out that there were letters clear back in the 1850s that referred to these horses in the Sapphire Mountains. So these are real wild horses that have been born in the wild, and I'm sure they've been augmented over the years from domestic stock that get away from, either the Indians that lived in this area or the settlers or even modern day ranchers. So those are the Sapphire Mountains, and this is the Bitterroot River. And as I said, it's a wonderful fishing river. In fact, let's just go straight down and look into the water. We have, on occasion, seen fish in the water. And this particular camera gives us a complete view, 360 degrees. So we can get right down and look at the water itself. Now, I doubt that we're going to see many fish right now because we've had some high temperatures. And when the temperatures get high, the fish in Montana are used to cold water. And so they're going to find the deep holes and spend the day in the deep holes. But at times, particularly spring and fall, we're able to occasionally see a fish here. So now I'm going to bring the camera back up and I'm going to look up north. And north is where the city of Missoula is, about 11 miles north of us. And this little beach here that you're looking at is on our property. And we see lots of little critters over here on the beach. And in particular, James and I had fun this last fall, and we installed this little perch. Now, it doesn't look like much, I recognize, but we have some kingfishers in the area, and they use this perch rather regularly. We wanted to lure them within sight of our cameras. So that's our perch, and it is seeing not just kingfishers, but a variety of birds, including hawks. It's a good place to look over the river and to catch fish. That's what the little kingfishers do. So now I'm going to go behind the river camera, away from the river, into what we call the riparian forest. And a forest is a riparian forest if it is periodically flooded. It is full of cottonwood trees. Many people in the West call cottonwood trees vertical water storage devices. They're very soft wood and they store water. The river, as you know, as you see, flows under the surface of the riparian area as well as on the surface of the actual river. And this is the arm where the camera is located. The camera is at the very end of this arm, so we're looking back towards the west, and you can see it's a little smokier towards the west. This is our gate, and as you can see, there is a bird box here. This was meant for wood ducks, but the wood ducks didn't take up residency. What did take up residency this spring was a group of tree swallows. They have since fledged all their chicks and moved on. So they are not there, but just a few weeks ago, you could watch the swallows going in and out and in and out as they fed their young ones. I'm sure they'll be back next year and it'll be occupied again. So in looking west, you're going to see we have a gate over here on your left. And that's a gate where you'll see some of our horses come back from their ride. And they will go right up the top here to the top of what we call the bench. And the bench, as you can see, is a little hill, and it's an area where it's flat and the fields change from fields into the riparian forest. So it sort of looks over the riparian forest. And that's where we have a second web camera. And if you'd like to change the view to that web camera, James, I'll take everybody to the bench bird feeders, okay? So here we are at the bench bird feeders, and you'll soon learn that almost everything we do here at Dunrovin is experimental. And we never put anything in the ground until we've done something for a couple of years. So several years ago, we put some volleyball hoops up there and put some bird feeders to see what would be attracted. These the bench is what is known as an ecological edge. That is, one type of environment changes to another. And that's very common place for new species of both animals and birds, mammals and birds. They use the cover of the forest, but they come out into the fields to get other food items. And that's very much what's happening here with the birds. We get a completely different group of birds here than we do, say, down by the river or up by the osprey's nest. And this camera, you can come right in on these birds very close. All of our cameras have what are called pan tilt zoom. So we can get right on top of these birds. Now, I can't guarantee that they'll stay there. These little guys, run off at times. And here we have a group of red-winged blackbirds that are in there eating. And this particular feeder attracts a lot of different kinds of birds. And because they're so messy, you can see them eating and the seeds flying onto the ground. We also get a lot of ground feeders. And those ground feeders, right now, they seem to be more red-winged blackbirds, but oftentimes we'll get raccoons or ground squirrels or regular squirrels. We'll get coyotes coming and looking for the raccoons. We've had foxes, we've had deer, we've had skunks and porcupine. All of them come by this feeding station because the birds scatter so many seeds on the ground. And we have this wonderful flamingo. I can't forget the flamingo. The flamingo was sent to us by one of our members. She felt that the bird feeders needed a little bit of color. And so I think that this bird came to us from Florida via Wyoming. And she's welcome to stand at the bird station. We like her, our great pink flamingo. So again, I'll show you that we're on the edge. So if you look along the top of this bench, you're going to go right up into the area where we live. You're seeing the roof of our dance hall. And if you turn then to the west, you'll see our pastures, and you'll see the mountains of the west. And here you even see some of our horses that are off in the pasture right now, enjoying a lunch, it would be. This is one of our young horses right here. He's the youngest one, in fact. He was born here. Many of our members watched his birth and helped name him. The name of those two horses are Augie and Monty. And here comes another horse, which is Chinook. It looks like some of the horses are finished with their work for the day. So they're being put out to pasture, and they love that, of course. So this camera can zoom in and out. It goes 360 degrees. And we often have beautiful sunsets in this direction. This is west. But again, we're a little bit smoky today, a little less than we were a little while ago, but it's still quite smoky. And this runway that you see here, this path, is where all of our horseback rides start. You'll see the horses coming right down this trail through this gate. And then again, I'm going to take it right on down to the river. And I don't know what we have here, what kind of an animal we have here. I'm going to check out and see. I see a little dark animal, just a dog, probably. Yep, just a dog. The neighbor's dog is out wandering around. That's great. But we get foxes here, and great blue herons will come and hunt for ground squirrels, etc. So this is a real happening place. So James, I'm thinking that maybe we should take people to the ranch camera next, and I'll meet you out under the ranch arch, and you can hand me a microphone so I can take people over and introduce them to some of our wonderful staff. We have a great staff this year. I'm so proud of them, and I'm really delighted that they are with us. So James, I'm going to take my cell phone with me. If anybody has any kind of a comment or a question, I'm really happy to respond. I see we have Kelly and Sarah on the chat today, and I want to thank you for coming. I'm glad you're enjoying the tour. I'll be out in a minute, and you'll be seeing me and James under the arch of our ranch.
Well, howdy, everybody. This is James Wassam. I am the tech guy behind the scenes here. You're going to be seeing me in just a few moments as I go out under the ranch arch here and hand Suzanne a microphone, and we'll chat for a little bit while we get off on the rest of the tour. So I'll be right out under that watch. Stay tuned, and we'll keep the tour going here. This is actually really fun to do these tours for you, so we're looking forward to moving on through the rest of the ranch and meeting some of our staff. And we do a lot of different things here. We've got several cameras that we do stuff with. Obviously, Suzanne's showed you a couple of those. You're now looking at the ranch camera. And we've got an arena camera, which I was showing if you were paying attention to earlier. You were seeing some close-up views of the farrier working on the horses. And Suzanne's going to be featured on that camera, and then we'll be showing you the famed Nest camera. So here's your microphone, Suzanne, and thanks for doing this tour for us.
Well, thank you for doing this. And I understand that you've been working with some activity directors in some senior residential communities. You want to give them a shout out?
Yeah, we've got quite a few. We've got one up in Ontario.
Oh, wonderful.
The Kingsbridge folks. We've got some folks in Ohio, Pennsylvania, Coeur d'Alene, Idaho.
Oh, great.
And I think we've even got some in Texas. So it's been, it's been a busy week here. I've been talking to a lot of you all out there and getting you set up on your smart TVs and iPads and all kinds of stuff. So definitely a big shout out to all of you joining us today.
Yeah, thank you very much. We really appreciate it. I see your dad's here.
He is. He blew in from Idaho just this afternoon.
Are you going to put him to work?
I am. I think we're going to go clear trail tomorrow.
Oh, that's great. Yeah. You know, we closed most of last year, so our trails, have 2 years of accumulated junk. And it wasn't until just recently that the water was low enough for everybody to go across the river. So there's a lot of things that need to be cleared up over there. But let me take everybody into our TAC area. I see a lot going on out there right now.
There's a lot today. I think we've got 4 or 5 of our own people. We've got a guest that's learning how to ride a horse, so she's really excited about that, getting ready for a trail ride with their stepmother later this week.
Oh, great.
And then, of course, we have the farrier here shoeing some horses. So,
yeah, I'll go bump into the farrier.
Yep, I'll run in and switch the cameras, and we'll see you in just a minute.
Thank you. I really appreciate it, James. All right, I'm going to wait until he gets over there so he can follow me on the camera. But this is our ranch arch, and you'll be seeing it often. We decorate it for all seasons, and it just sort of announces to the world who we are. All right, I'm going to head on over. I'm going to stop and say hello to your dad, James. I'm going to probably embarrass him, but that's okay. This is what we do here at Dunrovin. We just do what comes naturally to us. What a happening place today. Lots going on. Hi, I'm glad to see you back again. I hear that James is going to get you to work out there helping clear a trail for us.
Well, I can do that too.
Yeah, that's great. Welcome back. Good to have you.
It's good to see you again.
Yeah, you as well.
You doing good on this
We're
ranch?
doing great.
Good.
Yeah. I'm going to go out and interview a few people. You're on camera. Your son's man in the camera.
Oh, well, I don't know if I want to.
Yeah, put your hat askew. That's perfect. Good to see you. I'll be back.
It's good to see you.
All right. Wow, things are really happening around here. I think the first person I'm going to bump into here is our farrier, Calvin. Yeah, you're on candid camera.
Oh, am I?
Yeah.
Okay.
Take a turn around. Get away from the horse's rump here.
Oh, okay.
We're right at this camera right here. This is my farrier, Calvin Peterson, and he's from a big valley, cattle valley. Oh, what, 100 miles from here?
Yeah, it's about 2.5 hours from here.
2.5 hours, yeah.
Yeah.
Many generation family.
Yep, since the early 1900s, I guess.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And he's been doing farrier work for us for, gosh, a long time.
Yeah, it's been what, 6 years, 6 years, I suppose.
Think so, yeah.
Yeah.
He does a great job. And we have Tennessee walking horses here, so they need a special kind of a trim. Not every farrier can do it, and this guy does a great job.
Yeah. It's just a little different. Just their conformation's a little different.
Yeah.
A lot of times we leave their toe a little longer and a little longer heel than like a quarter horse or something.
Yeah. So they walk a little bit differently.
Can get their gait.
Yep.
You know. So, yeah, but I don't know, when you do it for so long, you just kind of, it's kind of hard to explain. I just kind of see it in my head now. So
yeah, go by your eyes.
Yeah, go by my eyes, right.
Well, good to see you.
Well, good seeing you.
Thanks,
Suzanne.
All right. So we're going to come over here and meet some of our staff. Ashley, I'm going to grab Ashley here.
Oh, I'm not going to stop right behind my horse.
This is our ranch manager, Ashley. All of you know her.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, she's around and about all the time. Give us a little thumbnail sketch. How did you end up at Dunrovin?
So, I mean, I was looking for a new job last year. I worked at a grocery store, and I had it with policy changes and COVID and masks and cleaning and everything. So I went to school for agriculture business, and I grew up riding horses. And I was like, you know what? I want to work at a horse ranch. Why not?
Yeah.
So I found this job, and I met Suzanne, and then I've been here ever since.
Yeah, we've had a great time together.
Yeah. Ended up living here over the winter, rolling out of bed, go playing in the hay, playing in the snow.
Yeah. And you have a guest here.
Yeah.
Would you like to introduce your riding student?
So this is Courtney. This is Suzanne. She's our owner of our ranch here. Cool. This summer, I've been able to teach riding lessons, which has been really, really cool. Working with like a lot of little kids, which is something that I had never done before, but I've realized that I like teaching kids how to ride horses, but also adults as well. So, you know, I'm not the most advanced rider, but I do know enough about the basics and getting people started on horses that I felt comfortable to start teaching lessons. So Courtney here is joining me for a lesson before her ride this Friday.
Oh, great. Good for you. And you've got a great horse here to teach.
Yeah, Mickey is amazing. He has been a bit pushy because he's been off for a few weeks. So we're going to get him back in check here. But Courtney seems like she's ready for the challenge.
Yeah, he's a really talented horse. You'll enjoy him.
Awesome.
Okay, and here we have Shiver running around, and Shiver belongs to one of our other main guide wranglers, Anya. Anya, can you say hello to everybody here?
Hello, Suzanne. How are you today?
I'm very good.
Do I need to get out from behind
I
this?
think you're over here. Come on over here. Yeah. Yeah. Get him tucked up there. Yeah. And she is with a horse, Mystery. You like that horse, don't you?
Oh, I love Mystery. He's a fun horse to guide on. He's, you know, still figuring himself out. He's fairly young, but he's getting braver by the day and just does his job so well.
Yeah, he's full of life.
Oh, absolutely.
Lots of energy. So give us a thumbnail sketch, Anya. You are really an interesting gal. Where were you
thank
born?
You. I'm originally from Switzerland, so grew up doing a lot of riding, mostly English riding style in Switzerland, in the Alps. I rode quite a bit in Iceland. That's where I learned how to ride gaited horses. So that's, you know, kind of helped me get into the swing of things here with you and your Tennessee Walkers.
Right. So. Yeah, those are those little Icelandic ponies, but they're not really ponies. They're horses.
Oh, yeah, most of them.
Guys.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay, and one of the things that Anya has been doing is been working with a friend of ours with some teletraining to teach these ponies. Why don't you introduce the ponies to us here?
Sure. So, and that was actually going to be my next step. We were pulling out the harnesses. So these are the captains, Lewis and Clark. Here we have Captain Lewis, and this little guy over here is Captain Clark. And these two ponies actually make up a pair for driving. So we have this neat two-horse wagon. And as Brandon Carpenter would say, you know, two does not make a team, two makes a pair. You need at least 3 horses on a cart for it to be a team.
Right.
And the neat thing about Lewis and Clark is that they will drive on either side. So we don't have to be too specific which one we hook up to the left and which one to the right. And that's, you know, with Brandon, I've been learning how to drive them, and it's been so much fun.
And you will be able to watch him teach her. And we're going to get Corey involved here. Come on over here, Corey. This is our newest wrangler and guide. And I don't know much about you, Corey. You're brand new. And
I am.
Some of our members who've been with us for a long time have been asking, who's that cute gal out there? And so I haven't had an opportunity to say hello to you yet. So give us a thumbnail sketch about your horse background.
I got my first horse when I was 9 from my grandparents, a cute little Mustang, and taught myself how to ride, and been riding since then. I go English, Western, jump. My husband wants me to get into barrel racing, so we might try that. And got 3 horses at home right now, and they're all my old retired ponies who I absolutely love.
Great. And you have been learning to do horse massage, is that correct?
Yes, so equine sports therapy massage.
That's great.
Yes.
Yeah, it's something I hope that you'll teach some of us to do.
I would love to do that.
I think people would love to watch you teach us too.
I would love to.
And it's the kind of thing that I'm sure somebody could hold their dog and go right along with us while you're teaching us, could they not?
Oh, yes. It can be used for dogs and horses. They kind of have the same body structure when it comes to the massage. So
yeah,
little different pressure points, but
Good.
It's universal for the two of them, at least.
Yeah, yeah. Well, great. And horses love that.
Oh, yes.
As do dogs. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to go over here and bother these two gals with our donkey divas and introduce them. Yeah.
Well, thank you, Suzanne.
Thank you. I really appreciate all the work you guys are doing. We have a great team this year. We do. Really appreciate your being here.
Well, thank you.
So wave hello to everybody. Thank you. All right, Cherie and Nicole. Okay, you guys can tell us who we have here. Let's get and look at the camera. Come on over here, Nicole.
Which one? Mobile?
Mobile camera, right there, right over there. All right. So, you want to tell us about these two girls? Who wants to tell me?
Well, this one right here is Miss Maud,
Uh-huh.
and the gray one over there is Miss Gertie.
Uh-huh.
I don't know too much about them, but maybe Cherie does. I'm not sure.
These are our donkey divas, and they absolutely run the show around here. They are the bosses, along with the captains, for everything that goes on in the barnyard. What have you used them for in the past?
I've used them as mascots.
There we go.
They have gone to senior residential communities. They've gone in parades. They've gone in schools. And I have to tell, their names come from my ancestors. And we will have a formal introduction with them in later broadcasts. But these two gals are they're full of fun and they're full of themselves.
They're very smart, too.
They are very smart. In fact, we had to install special locks on all the gates because these two could open them up without even thinking. They could open them up. So, Cherie, you have some special background. So can you tell people about your background? And maybe while you're doing that, we could walk over to the osprey's nest.
Sure, absolutely.
People could watch us walk over.
Yeah.
Get the lay of the land. Here, why don't you hold this and tell us your background?
And birds?
Yes.
Yes. So, well, I've been riding for most of my life. I've had my own horse for a little over a decade now. And then in terms of birds, I spent last summer kind of helping out Eric Green in the Montana Osprey Project. I helped design an education outreach for the Iris Cafe, which is located in the Missoula College. Nice little cafe, obviously named after our matriarch over at the Hellgate Nest, Iris. And I also helped direct some videos for education on bird banding, which is something that we'll be talking about in one of our broadcasts, which is very interesting. And I learned a lot last summer, and I just really fell in love with ospreys. So when it came up here and there was a job opening at Dunroven Ranch where there's a nest with a webcam, I was just, sign me up. And so here we are. What is it, July? And it's been just a wonderful time. I love being on the ground and being able to watch the ospreys bring in fish, bring in sticks, and watching these little guys grow up. It's been really great.
So we are standing underneath the pole to the awesome osprey nest. And let me give you just a little bit of history here. It was the Project Osprey that got us started all along. They needed a control nest for the nest that they were using on the Clark Fork River. And if you look around behind you, Cherie, you'll see this electrical pole. And there's a yellow band up there. And that's because this nest used to be on top of that pole. And when Montana Power, Northwest Energy, heard that we were going to put a web camera up, they said, no, you can't do that. We're going to have to move that nest. So they installed this huge, big pole. It's over 50 feet. I think the nest itself is up there like 57 feet. And they moved the nest. They estimated that it weighed about 400 pounds when they moved it. And I believe it. That thing is huge. It's about 4 feet tall. Yeah. It's a whole condominium. She's right. Little birds nest underneath the ospreys, and it's just a whole ecosystem going on up there. And you'll notice these signs, and these signs depict the chicks that were hatched here since the web camera came. We were missing 2 years, 2011 and 2012. And 2012, the eggs didn't hatch, and 2011 was the first year, and I just didn't have my game together yet. But here we name each pair and the chicks, and we'll go through that. Cherie has been putting together some great information that we'll be sharing with you nearly every Thursday for the next 5 weeks about the osprey. They're just incredibly interesting birds. And with that, James, I'd like you to switch to the Osprey web camera, and you can take it over from there and let people know just what we're able to do with that camera. And with that, I'm going to check one more time for some questions on my cell phone. You want to hold this for a minute?
Absolutely.
And see if anybody's got the chat going here. And, okay, I'm not seeing any real questions. Okay. I can see some hellos and people are excited. And people have been watching since Ozzie and Harriet lost their eggs. So we've had people with us for the last 12 years, and it's just been wonderful. We come to know them very closely. In fact, 2 of our camera operators, one's in upstate New York and one is in North Carolina. They probably are the biggest historians of us all. They know everything.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's where I'm getting a lot of my information from.
Exactly right. They're great. All right, James, with that, I'm going to ask you to switch to the Osprey camera, and I'll head back to my office. Goodbye, everyone. We'll see you again on Thursday.
Right, everybody. Well, hello to you there. Had to mute some of my audio here so we don't get feedback. This is James again, back here in the tech booth. I will go ahead and put up my picture just so you know that it's me and I'm the one doing it. There I am. All right, and what you're seeing is a view of our, what we call our backup Nest web camera. This gives a nice, panoramic view from the Nest and gives you a nice view of the bowl of the nest. It sits up fairly high and looks down on it. And what you can see right now are 3 chicks in the nest, and they are getting big fast. We were up there about 10 days ago. We had a biologist come in and band the chicks, and I actually got to hold all 3 of them as we were helping band the chicks and get that going. We have some pictures from our last newsletter on that, but they are big, strong, and feisty. They are raring to go, and they'll probably be fledging any day here. I imagine that we've already started to see them stretch their wings quite a bit. So we've got obviously got this Nest camera here. I'm going to go ahead and take us on over to the primary Nest camera, and this is a motorized camera, just like all the rest of our cams, except that backup cam I just showed you. And here you can see we've got these 3 chicks, and I'm going to zoom in really tight on them, and we'll get a great view of them. There you can see them standing up. Maybe they're getting ready for a fish delivery. I'm not quite sure, but you can see them getting ready for their wings, stretching those things out. They've been picking out their pin feathers, so there's all kinds of fluff throughout the nest. And you can see the blue band, and then there's a silver band. And I'll see if I can zoom on there fast enough. You can see we've got a 2W, and then we've got some other information on the silver band. So that allows us to quickly identify them if there's any photos taken. We have one of the parents here. I'm not sure which one this is on the perch. But we've got, it's either Swoop or Harriet, but the chicks are at the age now where the parents can now come and go from the nest without too much danger of predators coming down and taking advantage of the situation. But most of the time one parent is very nearby and the other is out fishing. So again, these chicks are getting very observant, very independent. You can see them looking up in the sky. These cameras are pretty phenomenal for being able to capture detail. In fact, one of the ways we identify these chicks or these osprey individually is by zooming in, and if I can get the focus just right, well, somebody just photobombed me here. We can zoom in on their eyes, and we can see the flecks in their eyes and be able to identify them as an individual bird. And that's how we know that Harriet has been returning here for so long. So I'm going to try to zoom in here again. We'll see if we can get right up close and personal. And you can just see the level of detail that we're able to capture there. and dial in the focus with these cameras. So these are the kinds of views you can expect to see from our Nest Cam, and we've got all 4 of our channels that we've showcased here today that you can watch 24/7 on our website, and if you've got your smart TV connected, you can also watch it on that. So I'm going to go ahead and zoom out here. We can also see quite a few other things from this camera. We can see part of the riding arena. We can see a little bit beyond into the activity yard and the sorting pen area. And of course we can see some of our pastures. I know you saw some of that from the bench camera. So this allows us some excellent views that we're able to track as rides go out. We can watch the birds flying around. And we also have some perches set up. We have 2 perches where we can watch the ospreys eat their fish. One is out here in the pasture to the south, and we'll go ahead and zoom in that, show you that one. So sometimes you'll see ospreys out here eating their fish. We've got that one, and then if we spin the camera all the way around to the north, we've got a perch out here in this field as well. This is what we call our winter pasture. It's where we put our horses in the wintertime and allow them to go out and forage for grasses during the winter, and we'll feed them hay once a day out there. But there's the other perch that the ospreys can eat their fish on. But you can see along the horizon, Suzanne pointed this out earlier, but there's a lot of smoke and haze in the air. We do have potential for some fire crews taking over this field. So you might see some tents going up and the Forest Service setting up camp in there. One of the big fires nearby is actually in this Lolo Peak area. You can just make out the peak above the mountains there in the distance, just that little top poking through. But there are about 3 different fires out there that are making up a complex that they're fighting right now. And we've got some fires down to the south near Salmon, Idaho. So this is just part of what we have to deal with sometimes here in western Montana, but it's part of our scenery here today. So you can see the wranglers down there getting ready for everything. They've got their lessons going on, they've got rides they're getting ready for, and of course our ospreys. So I'm going to leave you with this parting shot here. We'll go ahead and leave the camera on here close up so you can see a little bit. But with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off here. If you have any follow-up questions, definitely leave them in the live chat. That's what it's there for. We've got a lot of passionate members here that probably know more about some of this than I do. So yeah, definitely avail yourselves of all the wealth of information on the website and in the live chat with our members. Ask questions, make comments, post pictures or observations of what you see. And this is a great community to be plugged into. So thanks again for joining us here today. Really appreciate it. And we'll be back with you. We've got another live broadcast coming up on Thursday at 2 p.m. Mountain Time. So do mark your calendars for that. If you scroll down on the webpage, you'll see our calendar of events as well. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and sign off. This is James, and for everyone here at Dunrovin Ranch, thanks for joining us today. Do come back and visit us often and check in and say howdy. All right, so long.